Hi guys, and welcome to this video tutorial where we're going to talk about how to turn a digital scrapbook layout into a desktop background. And a few things I just wanted to point out before we go ahead and get started with this is that depending on what size desktop background you have, working with a layout that is centrally focused either on the top, the middle, or the bottom of your layout is probably going to work out best for you. Or if you're working with a layout where you don't mind some of the top or bottom being cropped out. And today we're going to be working in Photoshop Elements 8, but any of the techniques that we show you can easily be adapted for the full-fledged version of Photoshop or any previous or more recent edition of Photoshop Elements like Photoshop Elements 9. The layout that we're looking at right now, this is a flattened version of a layout I created earlier using products from the Owltree Studio 2010 November lineup, and it includes papers and some elements and a template created by Carla Dudley and several papers from the Owltree Studio collab in October that were created by Creations by Tina Marie and some papers and elements from Wild Blueberry ink. So going ahead and getting started, we're looking at a layout right now that is 12 by 12 inches. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new file that is the width of my desktop background. In my case, I'm working on a 13-inch screen, so my desktop background has a width of 1,280 pixels and a height of 800 pixels. Your desktop background may be larger or smaller, and if you're not sure what size desktop background you're working with, if you're on a Mac, you can click the apple at the top left-hand side of your screen and click on System Preferences, and then you're going to want to click on Displays, and when that pulls up, the area that is highlighted will be what size screen resolution you're currently working with. If you're working with on a PC, you may want to try clicking on the system settings from the startup menu in Windows, and somewhere in there will be a link to your desktop background or your display settings, and that will also show you what size screen you have. So go ahead and create a new project that matches the screen size that you currently have and click OK. So then I want to go back to my original layout, and I'm going to go ahead and resize this layout just so it's a little bit easier when I pull it over onto my new project. So I'm going to go to Image, Resize, and Image Size, and I'm going to go ahead and just set my layout so it has the same width that my desktop background has, which is 1,280 pixels. And because this was a square layout, it was a 12 by 12 layout, you'll notice that the height is now 1,280 pixels as well. And that's a little bit larger than my 800 pixel background. So again, this kind of goes back to, in some cases, it works a little bit better if your layout is focused either, like I said, on the top, the middle, or the bottom, or at least there's a central focus of your layout, because it is going to crop out the bottom portion of my layout when I add this to my desktop background. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK to resize my image. And then what I'm going to do is pull up my new image, my new project, and drag my layout on top of the new project. And what I'm going to do is manipulate my background to where I like it, how I want it positioned and laid out. I'm going to click Command G to create a clipping mask to make sure it sticks with the new background image that I've created. And then the only thing that I have to do from here is save my new image as a JPEG. So I'm going to go and click File and Save. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as my background and save it as a JPEG on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and replace the other earlier file that I had, and I'm going to save this as a large file. You may choose to save it as a smaller quality file, but I like things to be really crisp, so we're going to save it maximum, and I'm going to click OK. And then, again, I'm working on a Mac, but I'm going to go ahead and click on my system preferences again. I'm going to click on my desktop and screensaver option, and it's going to pull up my desktop folder where I'm going to see my new layout. And if I click on that layout, then it's going to go ahead and create my layout as my desktop background. And I've already done this with an earlier version, so if I minimize my screen, that's what it looks like on my desktop. And so I can change this out as I want to. I can customize it, and it's just a very fun way of getting some extra mileage out of your layouts.